Hello!
Oh,
Welcome back to our sprint to the finish.
back to the sad
Yes.
music. Dun, 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 dun,
I don't know what to think about the last chapter because obviously there's Ryukishi's standard, I don't even know if I'd necessarily call it subtext, but just commentary on the state of social work and care in Japan.
and bureaucracy and all that fun jazz.
But I don't know what it's pointing us to in the story because on the one hand, it could be said that we're seeing Keiichi, determined to rise up against the system and defeat it, and we're going to get out of this with a happy smile at the end of this arc.
Totally.
Or it's foreshadowing that nothing's going to happen, things are going to go downhill, someone's going to go crazy, we're going to have the standard affair, and then it's going to be Matsuri Bayashi is like, all right, this is the one.
Do you think that Keiichi's going to go crazy? You think there's any chance of that, of him going and being like, well, none of this is working, I'm just going to kill someone anyway?
It's hard to say, because, Shion is the easy pick.
Yeah.
Because she's been the, most out there the whole time, but I also feel it would be a disservice to her character arc to having just gone through, 2 arcs of her mental state and, now getting to what is effectively her redemption to just lob it off a cliff again.
I mean, all of the characters have kind of gone through that arc at this point, right?
Exactly. That's what I'm
reached that end in arc 6, so did Rena. And Shion is having a chance in this arc to show her positive side, which I really appreciate, by the way. I don't know. I mean, the only character who we haven't had that with yet, I suppose, Sadako. She's still in the pits. But I don't know. She killed Keiichi back in arc 3 or push him off a bridge. So maybe there's still room for her to do something nuts, something untoward.
Maybe.
Unladylike.
At the same time, though, I feel like the story is going to set up so much that she can't physically stand up to Teppei.
Sure.
That, I don't know, it would be like either an undermining or a reinforcement of that in that, she either wouldn't be able to do it through physical strength alone, but also might be like, hey, Sadako's, starting to get strong in the meta-narrative, and thus she is able to come up with an intelligent plan to do something about it
do you think
while
that
still being insane.
She can stand up to Teppei with all the pressure she's under?
I mean, I feel like the story is established so far that wits is just the way to beat the man because he has none himself.
Sure.
Case in point, Rena in arc 6. It's like, hey, come on down to the dump.
You should come over to the killing spot where I killed your girlfriend because she's also there.
Yeah.
And I'd love to kill you too. And he's like, okay. It sounds fine. Yeah. I mean, as we know, he's a very intelligent individual.
Yeah, it's like I feel of all of the points in this story, and Umineko as well, this is perhaps the point at which I've had the least idea of where we are going.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, we're right at the end, right? Pretty much.
We don't really feel like we're tailing towards a natural conclusion just yet, but we're still kind of having such a big switch up in the tone.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's a very different kind of arc, right? As we say, we start off with the perspective of Rika, the time traveler herself. And we're building on the revelations of the last arc, now that we've finally had this time loop thing confirmed.
I feel as though the most logical meta-narrative thing for the story to do is that we do get off scot-free in this story, but then, of course, the Hindamizawa disaster still happens, and then next arc, because everyone's had their meta-narrative success, then they are all strong enough to stand up against, definitely not Takano, and stop the Great Hinamizawa disaster.
I mean, I would never tell you, because this is half the premise of the show, exactly half, I would never tell you to stop thinking about where the story might be going, but I think that this is definitely arc 7 is definitely the point in the story where things should be fairly self-evident.
Yeah.
There is a lot less to be gained by trying to kind of puzzle out the story at this point, which is different from Umineko, which we won't spoil, but I definitely think that arc 6 is kind of when most of the cats are out of the bag, so to speak.
I'd agree with that in a mystery sense, but much in the same way that we've said the whole way along, where Higurashi's questions are more upfront.
Sure.
It's like it's difficult to say what question we're actually answering here, which I think lends weight to the argument of Higurashi's construction as a mystery overall, because even though we have still answered so many of the questions, there's still so much left to glean from the story.
Sure.
Even if we do know, like, all of the, the trivia questions, more or less.
I guess so. I mean, my perspective in this instance is that the mystery doesn't really matter. Like, Keiichi is trying to save his friend from a horrible fate. There's not a lot of mystery to that. We have a very clear goal. In all of the other arcs, when we've gotten to the kind of rising action towards the end, the characters have been more or less confused about what's going on. But it doesn't seem like there's any of that. It doesn't seem like anyone is confused about the stakes or what they're doing. The only person who's kind of lost any sort of control over what they're thinking or doing is Shion. I suppose there was one moment where Rena like slammed the desk a couple chapters back, but more or less everything seems to be out on the table, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the other thing is that, like, Hinamizawa syndrome, or whatever we're calling it, seems to be, like, less present in this arc.
Sure.
It's more that, like, we are ascribing the moments of outburst to it because that's what the novel's done so far. And it is an interesting thing to consider, to my mind, that, like, this great, mysterious, spooky mystery of the space alien drug bacteria, whatever the fuck, is really just an allegory for, like, the dark side of ourselves, which I think has been very apparent from the get-go. But the way that it's treating it is now solidifying it as an allegory rather than, like, a supernatural element to the story.
Sure. I mean, we're more so dealing with the dark side of society in this arc
Exactly.
than we are with the self. Setoko obviously has troubles going on, but as a whole, in terms of the major conflicts of this arc, we're not really dealing with, like, oh no, what if we can't trust our friend or whatever. It's these are the problems with fate and probability, and, like, I mean, Rika's despair obviously is a big kind of theme, but those are focused. Her despair is focused around the problems in the world that are inherent to it, right? Like, the reasons why she hasn't been able to figure out this fate so far is because everything seems to be conspiring against her and nothing seems to work, etc., which is kind of what Han Yu embodies. But it's not about the, like, character struggles as much. It's more about, like, figuring out what to do when the world is against you, that sort of thing.
Yeah. And I think much in the same way that many good supernatural stories do, this story has kind of gotten to a point where its supernatural pretense has become secondary to the messages that it is using those supernatural elements for.
Sure.
So, like, if we just accept the fact that whatever fucking bacteria, space aliens, is responsible for Hinamizawa syndrome, but that doesn't fucking matter because what Ryukishi is using the syndrome as a message is more important than trying to figure out what the fuck is actually going on, which I think is a strong suit.
Yeah. I mean, as I've said, I think that you definitely can approach Higurashi without treating it as a murder mystery. I definitely didn't treat it as a murder mystery, even though I enjoy, puzzling out plots and things, but I only paid kind of passing mind to it in my first experience of it. And I think that's totally fine because Ryukishi's focus right now is on a childish story. And that's by far its biggest strength.
Yeah, and I think we'll see how it comes around to the end, but I think one of the reasons that I'm perhaps less consistently engaged with this story and in a broad sense at the moment is because in Umineko I came into it kind of with a mindset about what it would be, and the novel made me doubt myself but realize in the end that I was right, and that emotional journey I think was such a big connection point for me. But Higurashi, I don't think I had that same kind of journey. It never really made me question my pretenses with the novel as much.
I mean, that's a bigger discussion for, like, the When They Cry fandom as a whole.
Yeah.
But, like, if you've read Umineko and then you try to read Higurashi, you're gonna have a very different experience if you read Higurashi first. And I imagine also if you in the future, if you were to read Kikonia first and then you come back to the previous stories, you'd have that same kind of problem because, as we've said a thousand times, Ryuichi likes to write his novels reactionary to his previous works.
Mm.
He builds on them in a very obvious and very straightforward kind of way. So reading them out of order is, in a way, doing them a disservice. Although I still think that there is a lot of value to be gained from reading reading Umineko and then coming back to Higurashi to see where it all started. In the same way that for those of you who have, finished Higurashi or have gotten close enough that it doesn't really matter, reading Hinamizawa Bust Up is a really interesting time to see kind of where Ryuichi's ideas are coming from, and sort of thing.
Anyhow, I think we can have more of that discussion as we actually get towards recaps at the end of this arc, because
Sure.
it'll be interesting to see how it all ties around. But I do think that particularly, like, the further we've gotten in, not to say that I'm not engaged with the story, and I've probably said this in previous episodes because we had a big gap in recording and I was feeling kind of similar before. But I think that particularly now that we're getting towards the emotional, like, peak of the story in a way,
Sure.
that, like, it has remained true to itself in a way that has not hooked me in the same way, which is perhaps an oversimplification, but I think if you've followed us through, you kind of understand my point, and we can flesh that out a bit later.
Yeah, because you're a heartless monster, obviously.
Exactly.
That's it. That's the answer. I've solved it for you guys. You don't even
Thank
have to
you,
listen
everyone.
to the recaps now. No, dragging out of the point is
That's right.
required. You're a monster. That's the explanation.
Fantastic.
Easy.
The Child Consultation Center had finally contacted Sadako's uncle after finding out she was missing from school for 3 days in a row. I'm sure it was because of our efforts that Sadako was able to come to school today.
Yay.
However, we couldn't really celebrate after seeing her painful expression.
Oh, no.
Sadako, we were so worried about you.
Are you sure nothing happened to you these past 3 days?
Big Mama Sheila.
I really did have a fever the whole time. I'm sorry for making you all worry.
My eyes always look like this.
She started telling us why she hadn't been at school. Nobody even asked her that.
Her uncle must have told her to say that to everyone. Now it's so painful to see her like this.
Rena seemed more angry than sad. Inside, I felt the same way. It felt like my anger was boiling up and lodging painfully in my throat. He was only letting Sadako come to school because he was now certain that she wouldn't do anything that would put him at a disadvantage. He was treating her like a tamed animal. Was it too late already? I thought of the broken Sadako I once saw in my imaginary world. Sadako, do your best, okay?
Of course I will. I'm doing well even though Nini isn't here with me.
I slowly reached out my hand
Don't do it.
toward her head.
No.
As a reward for you doing your best, I'll pat your head. Do you mind?
No response. Oh, God.
She didn't reply, but she didn't refuse either. I slowly put my hand on her head. She didn't react to it, but a tear rolled down from her eye all of a sudden. Was she crying because she didn't want to be touched? No, that wasn't it. Rather, it was the opposite. If I stopped patting her head, I'd hurt her feelings.
I guess I'm stuck here now.
Sadako felt obligated to survive without her Nini, but that didn't mean she didn't want anyone else's help. She couldn't appreciate my patting her head openly. Sadako had no choice but to cry in silence.
Sadako-chan, we won't tell anyone if you cry right now.
And after Rena said that, Sadako started crying like a baby. I felt relieved knowing that it wasn't too late. She hadn't yet suffered from the fatal emotional wound that I saw in my imaginary world. However, her tears made it clear that I needed to save her as soon as possible, no matter what the whole world might say to me.
Sadako, everyone is going to help save you. I promise you that.
Sadako, we weren't just doing nothing for these past 3 days. Right, Kei-chan?
Right, we're making an appeal to the Child Consultation Center. We're asking them to save you from your horrible uncle.
Uh-oh.
You don't have to do that for me.
It's not just us. Right, Tamada-kun?
It's not just me either. Okumura and the whole class are fighting for you. That's right. We all went to the Child Consultation Center together. We're going today too, right, my bear-san?
Yep, we're not going to give up until we save you.
Oh.
All the boys and girls in the class answered my call with their cheers. Sadako seemed a little surprised, but then soon became expressionless again.
Is that why the social worker came to my house?
That
That really wasn't necessary of you.
hate it. Thanks, I hate it, Ryukishi.
Sadako, did he hurt you because of that?
Oh.
She wouldn't answer. I couldn't tell what that silence really meant. Soon after, Chie-sensei entered the classroom. She must have heard the noise we were making.
Chie, save us.
Hojo-san, are you feeling better now?
We didn't know for sure if she was really sick or not. All of us, including Chie-sensei, were feeling the same thing.
Yeah, I'm fine. Sorry for worrying you. Everything's all right now.
Will you be attending school regularly from now on?
Yes, you don't have to continue worrying about me. You don't have to talk to any more social workers.
Hojo-san, if you feel overwhelmed, you can come stay with me. I'm on your side, okay?
Oh.
You're welcome at my house at any time. Hey, Chie-sensei, don't act like you're the only one who can help her. Sadako, we're all on your side here. That's right. You can come to my apartment, too. We have an extra room so you can use it as your own. Kasai can sleep on the couch.
She can't do that. Sadako is my pet. She has to come to my house. Pasta.
See, you're not alone. Everyone is trying so hard to save you. But I don't know if people at the Child Consultation Center will even understand how we feel. If what Oishi-san told me yesterday was true, then once they learn this isn't the will of all Hinamizawa, once they learn it's only her classmates creating a stir, they might harden their stance against us. All we had planned was to go there with more people and ask for the same thing. The Child Consultation Center was going to say the same thing to us too. It wasn't going to be any different from yesterday. They tell us it's only normal for her uncle to take care of Sadako because he's legally her guardian. They'd also tell us that there's no proof of any abuse happening. And why do they think that? Because Sadako won't admit she's being abused.
I appreciate your kindness, but I'm fine.
That's a lie.
Rena spoke with a smile, but her words cut sharp.
You're not okay, Sadako-chan. You're not fooling us well enough. All of us here, and many more people, know that you are in pain right now. That's why we're doing our best to stand up and help you. We're reaching out our hands so we can save you from your struggle. But we can't save you without you helping too.
She's right, Sadako. No matter what we say to the center, they'll tell us there's no abuse happening because you're denying that it's happening. We all want to help you. We can't if you don't accept our help.
I understand. I was just like you once. I thought no one could help me. I thought whatever I was doing was the only thing I could do. That's why I didn't even accept my friend's help. But someone taught me something. I can't even remember who it was, but someone, some dashing young man, taught me something. The world you want most is right in front of you, but you won't get there unless you take our hands. It doesn't mean anything if we're the only ones reaching out. Sadako-chan, you have to reach your hand to us too. We can take each other's hands and return to the world we wish for. Rena, who told you that?
That's some serious brow.
It is a very thick eyebrow, and it's showing like through her hair. It's a little terrifying.
I've never really like understood why that's the anime approach for brows, to like do it
Just show them?
through the like over the top of the hair. It looks so
Because
janky.
they don't want to mess up their perfect hair and their perfect faces, but they still want to show the expression, so they just draw both. It's fine. I don't remember. I think I heard it before I went to kindergarten, but I can't remember who told me that. But I can still clearly remember that feeling. I'm here because of what that extraordinary person taught me.
I agree. Whoever it was that taught that to Rena,
Whoever it was,
he wasn't wrong.
he was a really cool guy.
Sadako, do you think it's better not to ask for help? You think that's the best thing you can do? But you're wrong about that. Look at yourself in the mirror. Is that the face you want to wear? I'm sure it's not. I don't know where this mirror came from. I don't know why there's a mirror in this classroom. But you don't want any part of this world.
Probably Tomata.
We can bring you back to the world you want to live in. We're reaching our hands out. Those hands are almost touching you.
Pull her through the mirror.
But we just can't reach far enough. If we could, we'd pull you by the hair to get you out of this mess, but we can't make it. So you have to reach out your hand, too. Our hands are right here. They're right in front of your nose. So take them. If you just reach out your hand, we could pull you up to a happier world.
Even if you just took a bite of our hand, we'd pull you out. The fish.
Sadako wouldn't reach out her hand. She just stared at mine as though praying for something. Her fingers were shaking, but Sadako wouldn't try to reach her hand toward mine. I felt like screaming out in anger, but I didn't want to scare her. If I did that, she'd never trust me again. All I could do was to wait for her to reach out her hand.
Thank you very much. Really, I do appreciate it. But I really am perfectly fine. I really,
Sadako. She needs more time.
Sadako needed more time to sort out her feelings, but her time limit was getting closer and closer. It was unfortunate that Sadako didn't even realize that herself. The next moment, we heard someone approaching our classroom.
What?
By the sound of the footsteps, we could tell that it was the principal. And so I couldn't tell why Sadako was twitching like she just got electrocuted. The door quickly opened and the principal strode inside. He seemed relieved to see Sadako back in school. However, Sadako reacted both dramatically and bizarrely. She let out an inexplicable scream and ran to the back of the classroom and hid behind the curtain. No one in the classroom could understand her actions. They never even considered that it was because the principal had entered the room. The principal, however, realized it immediately. Sadako was scared to see him.
Hojo-kun, is everything alright?
He spoke in a kind voice, but Sadako was still afraid. It was plain as day to all of us that Sadako was frightened at the sight of the principal, but none of us could understand why. Are you okay, Sadako? You don't need to be afraid. We're all on your side.
my uncle is here.
Everyone here thought for sure that Sadako's uncle had shown up to get her. We all rose up at once, shielded Sadako in a circle, and searched the surroundings. I had yet to see our uncle's face, but we were in school now. If someone unfamiliar showed up, I could spot him immediately. If he tried to force Sadako to leave, then forget everything else. I'd end the fight right here. Yan and Shion are thinking the same thing. However, while Sadako remained frightened, we couldn't find any sight of her uncle. Sadako was trembling as if he was already inside our classroom, but there was no sight of him. Finally, I realized the truth. Sadako was frightened by the figure of the principal. I could understand she'd be scared of his footsteps, but she was still terrified after he showed his face. That was not normal. It was made clear to me how much stress Sadako was dealing with. Rika-chan hushed Sadako and whispered into her ear.
It's okay. Your uncle isn't here. Your mean uncle isn't here.
But he's right there. My uncle is there.
Oh.
He's come to take me back home.
Calm down, Sadako. Did you take your shot today?
My uncle is here. Nini.
Your shot? What are you talking about, Rika-chan?
Keiichi, she needs your help. Just tell him that Sadako is in an emergency. Hurry up. Chie, let's take her to the nurse's office. What's wrong, Sadako-chan? Sadako-chan!
Let's call a coach. She needs to see a doctor. Does anyone have his number?
I do. Let's go use the phone in the teacher's office.
I headed to the nurse's office after I asked Mion to make a phone call to the doctor. There were lots of students surrounding the office. Chie-sensei was forcing out other kids who had entered the room with them. I snuck behind her and entered it myself. Devious little shit. Sadako was lying down on the bed, still shaking with fear. Rena and Rika-chan were there with her and were trying to calm her down. I spoke quietly so as not to scare Sadako. Is she okay? What's going on with her?
I don't really know, but she's very scared. She thought the principal was her uncle.
Hearing that made it easier to understand, but it was still hard to believe. He'd been right in front of us and had spoken to her in such a kind voice. It was really hard to believe that she couldn't tell that it was the principal.
When there's a dark spot on the wall, what does it look like to you?
What?
People who hate flies will think it's a fly. It may look like a spider or a cockroach if that's what you hate. People tend to sense something they don't like, and they can't really tell what that something is. She thought of her uncle when she heard the principal's footsteps.
But she was still scared even after he showed up.
Oh. The illness Sadako has prevents her from correcting those misassumptions easily.
Why does she mean illness? I tried to ask Rika-chan that, but Sadako was becoming even more frightened. Rika-chan held her hand gently and tried to calm her down. Rena tapped my shoulder. She was indicating to me that we should leave Rika-chan and Sadako alone in the room. I agreed with her. Sadako was in tremendous shock. We're going back to the classroom for now.
Yes, please do.
Rena and I left the nurse's office. My classmates were still asking Chie-sensei about Sadako's condition. As soon as they saw me, they walked over and asked how she was. Let's leave it up to Rika-chan for now. Sadako's very frightened. Please don't do anything to make her afraid. She'll only get more scared if we continue to make this much noise.
Let's go back to the classroom. Coach will be there soon, and he'll take care of her. You called him, right, Mi-chan?
Yeah, he'll be here right away. He said to let Rika-chan take care of her and not to let her out of the nurse's office. Get back to the class, everyone. We're going to start homeroom.
While the teacher took our attendance, a car arrived on the school premises. Everyone's attention was drawn to it.
Damn it.
3 people with white gowns came out of the vehicle. Irie ran into the school in a hurry. We were surprised to see 3 people show up. It made us all worry that Sadako was in worse shape than we'd realized. Chie-sensei felt the same way. She left the class to Miyana and hurried to the nurse's office. Despite our worries, Sadako returned to the classroom about 10 minutes later. She was still as depressed as she was in the morning, but she was no longer in the state of panic.
Sadako, are you okay now? I think you should rest some more.
I'm sorry for scaring you. I'm fine now.
Sadako-chan.
Sadako seemed bothered by the way we were worrying about her. Chie-sensei also returned to the classroom. At the same time, I snuck out so I could talk to Irie and his staff. I saw him talking with Rika-chan.
God, he really is devious.
Coach, is Sadako really okay?
Mayaba-san. Yes. Yeah, she's fine for now. We should keep an eye on her, though. It was just a little panic attack. She's all good now.
Just a little panic attack. Are you sure? You're saying that Sadako has some kind of illness.
Well, I should be going. Please call me if anything happens.
Coach bowed and left without making any comment. It was like he was avoiding my question about Sadako's condition.
Here's the ball, Rika. It's in your court now.
What a responsible adult.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, little girl, you can handle this. I need to go do doctor things. Keiichi, can you promise to keep a secret?
What? Oh, sure.
Sadako's been sick since a few years ago. She's been getting treatment for that illness for a very long time.
It's surprising to hear that. It meant she was already sick when I first met her. I'd never seen any sign of that, though.
That disease can't be cured easily, but she can live a normal life as long as she gets proper treatment and medication.
I see. Sounds like it's under control. I had no idea she was sick until you just told me about it. She should be fine, right? She was hardly in a good condition, so it makes me hesitant to use the word fine. What kind of disease could Sadako have? Based on what I saw earlier, she might have a mental illness rather than a physical one. Might be because of how she was abused in the past. I've heard that mental trauma is not easy to cure and it needs medical attention at times. That must be what's going on with her.
Sadako has to take 2 shots every day. Since her uncle was bullying her, she forgot to take her shot this morning.
You mean Sadako becomes emotionally unstable if she doesn't take those shots? Rika-chan nodded quietly. Really, it was quite a shock. Sadako I know is an energetic and mischievous girl who is always bouncing around like a super ball. I couldn't believe she turned into a scared little animal just by forgetting to take a shot.
She becomes very afraid when she doesn't get her shots. When something happens suddenly, or when she hears a strange noise or sees something unusual, she feels like there are things that are coming to harm her.
So she thought her uncle came to the school when she heard the principal's footsteps. Yes, we've established that. Thank you, Ryukashi.
That's right. Thank you for repeating everything that we've already said a couple more times. Once she convinced herself that the footsteps belonged to her uncle, that became the truth for her. Even after she saw the principal's face, her mind told her that it was her uncle.
You said she can't organize information quickly enough. No, she didn't. Is that what her illness is all about?
She did now.
I don't even want to know what the disease is called. I feel so bad for her. I had no clue that she'd been fighting this condition for so long. That poor girl.
Keiichi, please, don't tell Sadako anything about her illness.
Why not? I guess I shouldn't ask. Might not be a nice thing to talk to her about her mental illness. I guess that's what she's trying to tell me. She came back to the classroom, but is she okay now?
Iria gave her an injection, so she's alright for now.
She's seriously sick to the point where she requires a doctor's attention. I realized something in the next moment. Hey, maybe we can have her be hospitalized.
Sounds like a good plan.
We can force her to stay in a hospital even if she refuses. That way we can save her from her uncle. Yeah, that's a great idea. One person to the next.
Iria suggested that before, but Sadako refused.
It's not about her refusing or not. If the doctor tells her to stay.
We'll just have to give her lots of drugs so she'll stay comatose, and that'll be fine. That sounds ethical.
Perfect. That's the happy world we want to get back to.
Yeah, totally. Keiichi, if Sadako doesn't go back home, her uncle is going to get rid of her Nini's room.
What?
Why does that matter? Sadako feels obligated to protect the Hojo residence until Sadashi comes home.
He was taking advantage of her. Was Teppei telling her that he'd get rid of Sadashi's room if she didn't stay with him? That's horrible.
Oh, please, don't tell anyone about this. She is not good at controlling herself, so she might get very angry about this.
She brought up Shion, but I was furious about it. I had to calm down, though. I needed everyone's help in order to save Sadako. I couldn't ruin everything by acting foolishly. I had no time to stop. Damn it. If Sadako asked us for help, we could help her right away. Just because she hadn't asked didn't mean she didn't need it. As her friends, we had to help her. Especially after learning he was controlling her by threatening to get rid of Sadashi's room. She told you that he's threatening her, right? Can't we take that as an SOS? Rika-chan nodded slightly.
Keiichi, we don't have much time left.
That I was all too aware of. She had a panic attack just because she didn't take her shot this morning, but if she stayed in her current environment, it'd be too late to save her in a matter of days. I saw her future when I saw Sadako crying behind the curtain this morning. This is the third day. We have 10 times more people on our side than we had on the first day, but we're not going to stop there.
Keiichi, it won't be that easy to save Sadako. I've tried many times before, but never succeeded.
Really?
You don't remember, but you're different this time. I think you're getting very close to saving her. I believe that you're someone who can defeat fate.
What did she mean when she said I didn't remember? I didn't have time to ask questions, though. Yeah, you're right. I'll defeat fate. Just watch me.
Sounds easy.
So easy.
I reckon we could do it in like one and a half arcs. It sounds like reasonable. It sounds reasonable to me.
Dude, are you spoiling to me that they succeed by the end of this novel?
Who knows? What if they
How
do?
dare you?
What if they fail? Then what? What happens?
Who knows?
A huge crowd had formed in front of the library. It was hard to believe that over 50 people had assembled in front of such a quiet place.
Most of them perverts. Speaking of, hold on. Could get my like anime play on. Here we go. Things are getting interesting today. That's my Abara-san. He's our leader today. Yo, glad to meet you.
Kamada-kun had brought a bunch of athletes with him. They were all very tall and full of spirit. Being greeted by a bunch of big people at once made me feel uncomfortable.
Damn right.
Oop, I shouldn't feel so intimidated. The commander can't act bashful in front of his troops. Following after them were our nameless comrades who sympathized with our plight at Angel Mort yesterday. I hate to say it, but I never expected any of them to actually show up.
We're all there.
Seeing them all here to support us made me feel glad.
And disturbed.
They seemed plenty pumped too, raising up fervous cries. Shrieks?
Question mark.
Kamada-kun did so much for me. He brought not only his teammates, but also people from Angel Mort. I couldn't thank him enough.
Don't worry, Kay. We're all brothers at Angel Mort. I heard from the people who went to the dessert yesterday that the dessert named Innocent Blue Sundae is the best one. Let's eat it together this summer. Wow, it's fucking Tamatake!
Yeah, they said he was coming.
You know what? I'm glad he's here. Keiichi-kun, this is incredible. You gathered this many people by yourself.
Hello. I never expected you'd get this many people here. Good job.
Tamatake Flash-san, Takano-san, why are you two here? Please explain to us for those who haven't read the previous chapters.
Oh, you didn't know. They told us they'd come at the meeting last night. The coach is supposed to be here too.
Yeah? Sorry I made you wait so long. I'm sorry for being so late. Oh, it took me a while to leave the clinic and get these maid outfits. Wow, Coach, that's amazing. It's amazing.
Coach had brought some sashes, headbands, and banners with
You know
him.
what? Close enough.
He was so well prepared.
Oh my God.
The sashes and headbands read Save Sadako Hojo, and the consultation center must take action immediately. They were perfect for our
It's
protest.
a bit wordy, but all
He
right.
had brought, I mean, listen, there's one
The
thing.
consultation center must take action immediately.
I mean, remember back in Arc 4 when we were complaining about the stupid fucking signs they had there? Like, the damn construction must stop immediately, not just ban the dam.
Look, ban the dam would be great. Oh my God. Center must placenta. No, that doesn't work. There's got to be a rhyme.
God.
What rhymes with center? Surely there's something there. Point is, there's a better slogan there somewhere. Let us know in the comments what your slogan would be for saving Sadako from her awful uncle. No. I'm trying to find like a rhyme with like Tepe or Sadako. It's not working. Slay Tepe. Nope, that's not.
Cancel consultation, act now.
There's some alliteration there, but there's no rhyme.
Yeah,
It's not bad though. It's better than what they've got.
It's
That's the
definitely
main
better.
thing.
I want to know if it's Ryukashi just being garbage at this or if the translators are just
It's probably the translations, but I would love to know what the original Japanese is.
like
I'd
this
love
is
to know.
these slogans are like fall asleep at your keyboard bad.
It's great.
He'd brought lots of extras along, too. Takano-san and Shion handed them out to the other supporters.
The headbands read that. How would you fit all that on a headband? Anyway,
You know, Coach, I loathe that style of yours,
it's too wordy.
but you've earned some respect today.
Oh.
You know, I really like these things. Not all 60 of us know each other, but when we all wear the same headbands, I start to feel a real sense of unity.
Like some kind of guerrilla terrorist group. It feels like I'm back at the damn conflict.
Wow, I really just couldn't let it go unsaid, hey?
No. The people of Hinamiza are wearing headbands and sashes just like these. It was like they were invincible. No one could make them stop.
Tamataki-san
Flash.
was exactly right. Even the kids from Akinomiya were willing to wear the headbands. It was like we were supporting a baseball team.
Yeah.
Except in this time, Sadako is the ball and Tepe is about to step out on the plate.
I was gonna say I thought you were say he was the golf club, but you know what? That's fine because we're gonna get him off the field. Yeah. Here, Ika-san. It took us a while to get all of these made. Irie, I'll do everything I can. Oh, I'll do my very best to help us rescue Satoko-chan. Here, these are yours, Kei-chicken. It felt like a field trip yesterday, but today it's totally different.
Yeah, I agree. I figured showing up in greater numbers would intimidate them, but this has way more impact. Bluffs really are important after all.
Bluffs are great.
It's just about time. Call us to attention, Captain.
Captain, I'm just the person who set the...
Keiichi-kun, you need to act more like a leader. Like. Tamataki Flash! Get up there and stand strong. Oh my goodness, he's just going for it.
I walked out in front of everyone while Tamataki-san
Flash.
took pictures. Everyone went quiet and turned their gaze to me. I felt so nervous.
And pose.
But at the same time, I also felt really thrilled to see all of our comrades here.
Down that catwalk.
Thanks for being here today, everyone. As you know, it's been 4 days since my classmate Sadako Hojo was taken by her uncle. How can he claim to be her legal guardian? He used to beat her, and he neglected her for a whole year so he could live with his lover here in Akinomiya. The Child Consultation Center must urgently take care of this matter and save Sadako from him. However, they're putting her case on hold. They just don't understand how much of an emergency this is. Today, we're going to attempt our third appeal so as to get them to save her as soon as possible.
Yeah. Those who saw Sadako-chan at school today, you should all know. She was at her wit's end after only 4 days. We can't leave her in that environment any longer.
This is our third attempt. We have so many people on our side, too. Let's let them know how important this is. We're not going to neglect our friend.
Damn right. Amazing. This really is the return of the damn conflict.
My Barakan wasn't even living here when that happened. This is quite interesting. There must be something about this village that brings people together. It's me.
Damn.
That's just the culture here, I think. Something like this happening was inevitable.
I come from a city where neighbors don't even know each other's faces. I'm a little jealous. That's a bit rich coming from someone who keeps complaining about the lack of trains.
But The fuck do you even need trains for in a place that's this small?
Well, that's the point. He's like, a place like, God, there's no trains around here. I have to ride my bike everywhere.
Oh, units! Prepare for assault.
Ugh.
Give us the order to lay out.
What? Who's saying this?
Who is saying this? It's gotta be Kamada, but
No, that doesn't make sense. He would call him K. He wouldn't call him Your Excellency. Maybe it is like Tomada or Okamura. I don't know.
ugh.
I mean, look.
We can take a point for it
We'll
either
take
way.
a point for it either way. Give us the order to lay down our lives today, Your Excellency.
It's gotta be Tomada or Nakamura.
Oh, press out a man's rescue the target, everyone!
God
oh my
damn it.
God! Another point. We're taking him. Might as well. How is this even? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Just give us sprites.
It's true. If only there was a Kamada-kun sprite. Somebody
If only those sprites existed.
I haven't actually seen a Kamada-kun sprite.
Haven't you? I have.
Really?
Yeah.
I've only seen him in the anime. I haven't seen a sprite for this.
He's got a nice little buzz cut.
Yeah, dude. He's a good boy.
And for some reason only has a baseball uniform and no other clothes.
That's all he needs, right? Press out a man to rescue the target, everyone! Follow K's command!
Yeah!
We're gonna do it! Oh boy!
Everyone had that much vigor before he'd even entered the building.
They had to have heard what was going on outside. In fact, panicked-looking people were staring at us out the windows.
Damn. Well, here goes nothing. I could lose my job for this.
Irie pushed me forward, and I took the first step of our third attempt with the weight of 60 people on my shoulders.
Oh my God. So anime.
We went through the automatic doors and slowly crossed 20 meters to the counter. And then we
It's
had
like
to wait
walking.
for half an hour
Yeah,
for the bureaucracy.
Totally.
How will they take this? The first day it was just a counselor. Yesterday was a manager. Think we'll get a guy in charge today?
I don't know. But I'm sure they'll understand just how much we care about her. Fucking this piano! So good! Hello? How may I help you today?
Same as yesterday!
We're here to make an appeal for immediate action on behalf of Sadako Hojo.
all right then.
At the far end of the office, I saw the manager from yesterday talking to a guy sitting behind an important-looking desk. I could tell he was intimidated to see so many people. Shion said this was the day we'd finally close the deal, but I couldn't be that optimistic yet. To be honest, our current numbers were probably the maximum number of people that I could get. So, what would we do if things didn't work out today? I put up a brave front, but internally I was nearly cracking with the anxiety. But looking at the hopeful, encouraging expression on Rena's face as she walked beside me helped me disperse those timid feelings. Rena might hold the very same worries inside of her heart. Everyone must be wondering if we can really save Sadako or not. But today, we're supporting each other by hiding those worries. That was unmistakably our team's strong point. We could never have gathered so much energy and strength if we were alone. That power can only be created when people work together. It takes forever for a drop of water to wear away at one rock, but a tsunami can break it into pieces in a second.
Nice metaphor, Keiichi.
The manager approached the counter. He started speaking to me, saying that the meeting room wasn't open today. He couldn't let us all into one
Do
room.
it outside then. Do it outside.
However, the head of the office was willing to see us, so we could use the reception area in front of his desk. Since the room is so small, however, he asked us to choose 3 representatives to come inside.
I am truly sorry. We hope you'll understand. This is out of concern for our visitors and show that you're willing to cooperate.
We were here with all these people, and they were only letting 3 of us inside. I wanted to refuse their offer, but Mion told me to take it.
Boo.
If we occupied the office with our numbers, they could fault us for obstructing their business. I think they're intimidated enough. The head of the office is willing to talk with you today. I think that's the best treatment you can get from them.
They're all shaking like scaredy cats.
Meow meow.
What?
Still, it's definitely a lie the meeting room isn't available today.
I think so too, but Mi-chan is right. I think they're intimidated enough. The head of the office is the top of the whole organization. If he's willing to talk to us, we might have to compromise as well.
If we refuse to see him, that will go on the record. We don't want them to be able to claim that we refuse to talk to him.
Oh, I think we should make it clear that we're here to have a conversation.
It's good to get suggestions from so many of my inferior officers.
What?
If it was only me, I could have just gotten pissed off and left. That was probably not the best idea. Once again, I felt how important it was that we were a team.
Yeah, with all these adults teaching me things from the sidelines.
I understand. 3 of us will go to talk to him then. But who should it be?
Don't make me fucking choose, game. Don't make me fucking
That'd be pretty
choose.
great, wouldn't it? This is like, who will you choose as your team? Keiichi-kun, you have to go. Other than you, I think Coach and Mi-chan will be the best choice.
the head of the office recognizes me, they'll think this is the Sonozaki family's doing.
Again.
I can't let them think that since my family has nothing to do with the case. I'm really sorry, but it's one of those adult circumstances again.
Boo.
Saving Sadako's our fight. That old hag has nothing to do with this anyway.
I'll go.
How about you, Rena-san?
Oh.
You should go and talk with them.
Yay, Rena. I don't mind, but how about you, Rika-chan? Meep? As Sadako-chan's best friend, I think you should be a representative.
Rika-chan is a quiet girl, so it'll be hard for them to understand what she's thinking. However, she's Sadako's best friend. I've never heard Rikashi repeat himself. She'd been living with her for the past year as if they were family. She has the strongest bond with Sadako out of any of us.
And yet has been one of the most quiet.
All right, Coach Rika-chan and me, we're going in.
Roger. I'll get everyone under control.
Jan winked at me and started explaining the situation to everyone else.
All right, there you go. That's it. That's the chapter. I love it. I kind of love this track. It's very silly. A lot of great piano in Higurashi. Shout out to my boy Dai, the greatest composer.
I completely agree. No tips though.
No tips today.
I think we'll just wrap this one up nice and snappy and get
Sounds good.
straight onto it.
Let's go.
Next time.